Kahf Surah, let's pick up where we left off, verse 19. We seek refuge in God from the accursed Satan.
Bu paranızı şehre gönderin ve hangi temiz yiyecek temizse baksın onlardan getirsin. Temiz yiyecek. Temizliğe dikkat etmek. Hz.Musa çok temiz. Peygamber İbrahim Resulullah çok temiz.
The verse is talking about clean food, being careful about cleanliness. Prophet Moses was very clean. All prophets, Prophet Muhammad, Prophet Abraham, they were all very clean. Mahdi will also be very clean, and the students of Mahdi will be very clean too.
Sakın sizi kimseye sezdirmesin. Niye? Ne yapar Müslümanı?
Of course they should be careful. The believers should be careful, and because if they make themselves known, the bad people might try to hurt them.
Müslümanın da dikkatli olması gerekiyor aynı zamanda. Bak sakın sizi kimseye sezdirmesin.
They might try to put them in asylum. They might try to put them in jail. So that's why the believers in the end of the times should be very careful. The verse says that, but you should go about with caution so that no one is aware of you. For if they found out about you, so if they find out about the weakness of the believers, they might try to use it against them in a very despicable way. Even if they find the slightest weakness, which is a weakness to him, not a weakness at all, he might try to use it in a cowardly manner. He might try to use it against the believer in a despicable, in a very low manner. For this reason, the believers should be very careful against the danger of showing any weaknesses. Prophet Israel, he says that if I send him together with you, I'm afraid that the wolf might hurt him. So he showed them his weakness. And later when his other sons come to him, what do they say? What is their lie? The wolf ate him, they say. So if the unbelievers, if the bad people, if the ignorant people, if they found out about your weakness, they might try to use it against you. So it is important not to make it known. For if they find out about you, they will stone you, they will attack you, or make you revert to their religion, to their own traditions, to their own ways, to their systems which is away from Islam. For example, sometimes these things happen. For example, a person who was against Darwinism later becomes a proponent of Darwinism. So if he has a really bad soul, he doesn't really live according to his real thoughts. He won't do that. Or make you revert to their religion, and then you will never have success.
Böylece 21. ayet 21. yüzyıla da bakıyor. Böylece Allah'ın vaadinin hak olduğunu, Allah'ın vaadi ne? Mehdi'nin çıkışı.
Verse 21, this also is a reference to the 21st century. Accordingly, we made them chance upon them unexpectedly, so they might know that Allah's promise is true. Allah's promise is true. What is Allah's promise? The Prophet Jesus is coming, Mahdi, and the Judgment Day. And that there is no doubt about the hour, the Judgment Day. The Judgment Day and the signs of the Judgment Day. God draws attention to the Judgment Day and to their signs and how close it is and how real it is.
Onlar kendilerini tanıtmıyorlar demek ki. Birileri onlara buluyor. Mehdiyet böyledir. Gidip kendini tanıtmaz. Başkası gidip olur. Başkaları gidip olur. Şehir halkı diyor. Şehir halkı demek milletin bütünü.
Mahdi is like this too. He won't go and introduce himself. Other people will come to him and find him. The people will go and find him. He won't go to them and tell them who he is.
Televizyonlarda, gazetelerde, kitaplarda, açık oturumlarda tartışma konusu olacaktır. Kendi aralarında durumlarını tartışıyorlardı.
There will be
Bir kısmı dedi ki
debates, lots of debates, lots of
Rableri
discussions in the end of the
onları
times
daha
too.
iyi bilir. Onların işine galip gelen, sözleri geçen ise üstlerine mutlaka bir mescit yapmalıyız dedi.
When they were arguing among themselves, so there will be lots of arguments in the end of the times, they said, wall up their cave. Their Lord knows best about them.
Cami yapılsın dedi.
But those who got the better of the argument concerning them, who is the one that gets the better of the argument? It is the government. It is the prime minister. For example, when he says that let's build a mosque, it is done.
Onların işine galip gelen, sözleri geçen.
But those who got the better of the argument concerning them said we will build a place of worship over them. A mosque, for instance. So a person who has got the better of the argument is the government. So that person, the verse continues, we will build a place of worship over them. This is a reference to the end of the times, to something like this probably will be done in the end of the times. Do you remember any mosque like that? Çamlıca Mosque. It is a very big mosque. It can be seen from far away. It is very high. And Çamlıca is a place that is familiar to us. So it must, everything is a destiny.
Bu rakamlar şifre veriyor. 5'tirler, onların 6'sı köpekleridir.
They will say there were 3 of them, their dog being the 4th. These numbers, they are cryptical. They have some secrets. They will say there were 5 of them, their dog being the 6th. 5 and 6 come together. What does it make? 56. 1956. Guessing at the unseen. And they will say they were 7 of them, their dog being the 8th. There's a reference to the dates, the years with the number 7. And 7 plus 7 multiplied by 8 equals to 56 again.
Hiçbir şey hakkında bunu yarın mutlaka yapacağım deme. Ancak inşallah yapacağım de. Unuttuğun zaman Rabbini zikret ve de ki umudu ki Rabbim beni bundan daha yakın bir başarıya yöneltir.
Never say about anything, I'm doing that tomorrow, without adding, if Allah wills, inshallah. Remember your Lord when you forget and say, hopefully my Lord will guide me to something closer to right guidance than this, inshallah. So God tells us to say inshallah. But the television board forbids us from saying inshallah. We were the ones who were saying it the most, but still we are saying it the most, more than anyone else. And they couldn't stop it.
Allah niye bize bunu çok fazla söyletiyor?
Why do you think we are saying inshallah so much?
Onu bulacağız herhalde.
There's this reference in the Kahf Surah. Why do you think God is making us say this so many times? We must be in the path of the Mahdi system. We must be looking for him. I'm looking for Mahdi and I will find him eventually and I will swear allegiance to him. I'm another, just an ordinary servant of God, but inshallah I believe that when I swear allegiance to Mahdi, I will be very, very useful.
3'türler, 300. Allah Allah, 3'te bir şeyler var. 9 yıl daha kattılar, 9'da da bir şey var.
They stayed in their cave for 300 years and added 9. There must be also a secret in the number 3. And added 9. There must be a secret in the number 9 too.
Umulur ki Rabbim beni bundan daha yakın bir başarıya yöneltip iletir. Çabuk hakim olmasını istiyor Peygamberimiz. İslam'ın.
Hopefully my Lord will guide me to something closer to right guidance than this.
Ve de ki,
Prophet Muhammad wanted quick results for the reign of Islam in the world. He said,
bundan daha yakın bir başarıya yöneltip iletir.
And say,
daha yakın bir zamanda bir hakimiyet.
So Prophet Muhammad said it. What did he say? Hopefully,
24.
my Lord
ayet.
will guide me to something closer to right guidance than this. Closer, something sooner. The verse 24.
Sana Rabbinin kitabından vahyedilenlerini oku. Onun sözlerini değiştirici yoktur. Yani Kur'an'ı kimse değiştiremeyecek diyor Allah.
Recite what has been revealed to you of your Lord's book. No one can change his words. God says that no one can change
Onun
Quran.
dışında kesin olarak sığınacak bir makam bulamazsın.
And do not read anything else other than Quran. Only follow what Quran says.
Makam bulamazsın diyor.
You will never find any safe heaven
sabah,
apart
akşam,
from
onun
him.
rızasını isteyerek Rablerine dua edenlerle
There is
birlikte
no
sabret.
one that will protect you, that can protect you other than
Müslümanlardan
God.
ayrılma diyor Cenab-ı Hak. Sabah akşam dua edenlerle birlikte.
Restrain yourself patiently with those who call on the Lord morning and evening, desiring His face. God says that stay with them, stay with the believers.
Birlikte olacak Müslüman.
What does it mean with? What does it mean together with them?
Dünya hayatının aldatıcı süsünü isteyerek gözlerini onlardan kaydırma.
Believers should be together in prayer too.
Yok tiyatroya gideceğim, eğleneceğim, arkadaşlarla
Do not turn your eyes from them, desiring the attractions of this world. The checks, the clubs, the cinemas, the theaters, having fun,
gözlerini onlardan kaydırma.
trips, traveling, whatever. These shouldn't be your excuses to turn your face away from the believers.
Göz göze, gözünü de ayırmayacaksın diyor Allah. Bak burada bu emir.
So God says that you should be so much together with the believers.
Gözün de üstlerinde.
You have to be very close to them. You have to stick together with them all the time.
Yüzdeyiz değil mi? Göz göze. Konuşuyoruz. Gözünü de ayırmayacaksın.
You should also keep eye contact. For example, we are face to face here, right?
Öyle bir birliktelik olacak diyor.
It's like that. We are talking.
Kalbini bizi zikretmekten gaflete düşürdüğümüz.
God says that keep your eyes on them. That's how close you should be. And do not obey someone whose heart we have made neglectful of our remembrance, and who follows his own whims and desires, and whose life has transgressed all bounds. For example, there is a person, he forgot about God, he forgot about Islam and Quran. He is unaware that he is going to die, and he is occupied with unnecessary things like who won the match, or is he going to be paid, or what.
Makul bir çizgideyse bir şey yok. Ama abartılı anormal hareketleri yapıyorsa ona itaat etme diyor Cenab-ı Allah. Aşırılık demek yani Kur'an'a uymayan hareketler. Ve de ki hak Rabbinizdendir. Artık dileyen iman etsin, dileyen inkar etsin.
Transgressing all bounds means any acts, any behavior that is against Quran. Say, it is the truth from your Lord. So let whoever wishes have iman, belief, and whoever wishes be unbeliever. We always say that there is no compulsion in religion, and God explains how we should be spreading the message of Islam. God says that let whoever wishes have belief and whoever wishes be unbeliever. This is against what ISIS says, right? For example, if you tell ISIS, Islamic Republic, that let people decide what they want to do, they won't accept that. But God says that if a person wishes to be an unbeliever, he should be an unbeliever. He has the choice to do that. He has the freedom to do that. If you force him to believe, he will be a hypocrite. We have prepared for the wrongdoers a fire, whose billowing walls of smoke will hem them in. There will be alleys, streets. In the hell, there will be lots of walls. In hell, crisscrossing, lots of allies crossing each other, dark alleys, dark, smoky, filthy, and foggy, and muddy streets.
Eğer yardım isterlerse katı bir sıvı gibi yüzleri kavurup yakan
will hem them in. The walls will surround them, close in on them. If they call for help, they will be helped with water like seething molten brass, frying their faces. So if they want water, they will be given water that will hurt them. Nothing other than that. What a noxious drink, what an
Tabii bu
evil
müminlere
repose.
haram kılınmış bir
Because they
içki.
want support, but this is really
Küfre de
very
helal
bad.
kılınmış. Onlar içebiliyor. Tabii içebiliyorlarsa.
Of course, the believers will not get any of that, but the unbelievers will taste that.
Şüphesiz iman edip salih amelde bulunanlar ise bak iman ediyor. Sonra da samimi tavırlarda bulunuyor.
But as for those who have
Hep Allah
belief and do
samimiyeti
right actions,
İman ve samimiyet iç içe. Sadece iman ettim yeterli değil. Samimiyet.
God always draws attention to the importance of being honest, having integrity, having sincerity,
Cenab-ı Allah
having
Allah'ın
honesty.
ancak samimi
So
kulları
believing in
kurtulur.
God only isn't enough. You have to be honest, you
Namaz
have to
kılan,
be
oruç tutan
sincere.
demiyor. Samimi.
For example,
Bütün
God
gücümüzle
says,
samimi olmaya çalışacağız.
only the sincere servants will be saved.
Mesela bir şeye kızıyor. Samimi
God doesn't
oluyor.
say that only the ones that pray, only the ones.
Mesela bir şey haset ederse
Inshallah, we have
samimi
to
olmaya
try to
niyetlenirse
be
etmez.
as honest and as sincere as
Bir
much.
ibadeti
For
yapıyor
example,
ya samimi
for
olayım
example,
derse
if he
onu
gets
hakkıyla
angry, he
yapar.
should say, "Let me be sincere," and then he won't feel angry anymore. For example, if he gets
Şüphesiz
jealous and
iman edip
if he
salih
says that,
amellerde
"Let me be
bulunanlar ise
sincere,"
biz
then
gerçekten
he won't feel jealous,
en
and
güzel
he will
davranışta bulunan ehlini
worship God
kayba
in the
uğratmayız.
most perfect manner
En
if he is
güzel
sincere.
davranışta bulunan kimse
But as for those who have
onun
belief and do right
sevabını kayba
actions,
uğratmayız
we
diyor.
will not let the wage of good doers go to waste.
2062 tane veriyor.
Wage of
İslam'ın
good
en
doers.
parlak, en şaşalı, en hakim olduğu yıllar.
So the
İsa
wage
Mesih'in
of
olduğu
those
yıl.
good doers will not go to
2062 ama
waste.
son zamanlara
And the
gelmiş.
abjad value of this verse is
Yani
2062,
birkaç on sene
which
kalıyor.
are the peak, the height of the Islamic
Onlar
reign.
altından
But
ırmaklar
of course,
akan Adnan cennetleri
it's closer
onlarındır.
to the
Orada
final
altın
years.
bileziklerle süslenirler. Bak burada biz yüksekteyiz. Nehir akıyor
They will
alttan.
have gardens of
O
Adnan
nehir
with
akmasına
rivers
buranın
flowing under
süsü
them. They will be adorned in them
%90
with
azalır.
bracelets made of gold
O
and wear
nehri
green
denizi
garments.
gördün
For
mü
example, we
ferahlık
are
veriyor değil mi?
high above the river, and
Ne diyor
if the
ayette?
sea wasn't
Adnan
there
cennetleri bunlar.
flowing,
Orada altın bilezikleri süslenirler.
the quality of
Hafif
this
ipekte ve
place,
ağır
the
işlenmiş
adornment, the
atlastan
beauty
yeşil
of this
elbiseler
place would
giyerler
have
ve
declined so much
tahtlar üzerine
considerably.
kurulup dayanırlar.
God says that they will have gardens of
Oturup dinleniyor.
Adnan with rivers flowing under them.
Elbiseyi de seviyor.
They will be adorned in them with
Alışmış
bracelets made of gold and wear green garments
dünyada
made of the finest silk and rich
elbiseyi
brocade,
seviyor.
reclining their own couches under canopies.
Yalnız burada tabii
Believers, inshallah, in
hafif
heaven will
ipekten
love
diyor ve
clothes
ağır
too because
işlenmiş
they will
atlastan.
have been
Bizim
used
orada
to
elbise
the
zevkimiz
clothes in this world.
bu elbiselerle daha bir pekişecek. Yani bizim görmediğimiz bir elbise şekli var burada. Bu elbise çok
Our
şu
taste
yeşil
of
atlastan deyince
clothing in
aklına
heaven
gelir. Kalın
will
böyle bir
get
kumaş.
more refined.
Üstü de altın
More
iple
refined.
sırılmış,
God
süslenmiş falan. Öyle bir
describes a different
o
type
elbiseyi biz
of
ilk defa
clothing in
göreceğiz orada.
here
Ve acayip
because
beğeneceğiz. Buranın ipeği gibi değil cennet.
it will be for the first time that we
Buranın
will see
atlası
that
gibi
type
değildir.
of clothing
Cennetin
described in
atlası.
here, and we will love it.
Buranın
Absolutely
atlası
love it.
düz bir şeydir yani.
The
Herhangi
one,
bir kumaş görmüyor.
the silk in heaven will not be
Ne
like the
güzel
silk
sevap,
in
ne güzel
here.
destek. Bak
It
daha
will
önce
be
ne diyor
completely
Allah?
different, and
Ne
it will
kötü
be
bir içki, ne kötü bir
perfect.
destektir diyor öbür küfür için. Ama Müslümanlar için ne güzel sevap ve ne güzel bir destek diyor.
What an excellent reward, what a wonderful repose. But for the hell residents, God says that what a noxious drink, what an evil
Bağına girdiğin
repose.
zaman maşallah Allah'tan başka kuvvet
But
yoktur
for
demen
believers,
gerekmez.
God says what an excellent
Biraz evvel
reward, what a wonderful
inşallah var.
repose.
Şimdi maşallah. 2 şifre. İnşallah ve maşallah.
Why when you entered your garden did you not say it is as Allah wills, mashallah? There is no strength but in Allah. So God explained inshallah and mashallah in the surah. Please bring me the abjad values of these two words, inshallah and
Mal ve
mashallah.
çocuklar dünya hayatının çekici süsüdür. Sürekli olan salih davranışlar ise Rabbinin katının sevap bakımından daha hayırlıdır. Umut etmek bakımından daha hayırlıdır. Ne oluyor mal? Adam öldü müydü malı gidiyor zaten. Mal toptan gidiyor. Ölmese de
Wealth
mahşuru
and sons are the
dağılıyor.
embellishment of this world,
Çocuk
but in
böyle
your Lord's
çocuğu
sight,
oluyor.
right
Babasından
actions
önce
which are
ölüyor çocuk.
lasting bring a
Bazen.
better reward.
Ya babasından sonra ölüyor.
So when a person dies,
Ama
he
hiçbir
loses
çocuk
all,
kalmıyor.
and children too. For example, he has a child, but
Dedesi ölüyor.
sometimes the child
Dedenin
die
oğlu
before
da
their
ölüyor.
fathers or mothers.
Torunları
But
da
no
ölüyor.
child survives
Hepsi ölüyor.
forever. No child lives forever.
Emek yetiştiriyorlar. Bayağı bir uğraşıyorlar. Çok pahalıya mal
Everyone
ediyor.
dies. The grandfather,
Yani o
the
çalışmalar,
grandsons,
eğitimler.
fathers, everyone
Ama
dies.
sonra bakıyorsun aile mezarlığında hepsi yan
They
yana
put a
gömülüyor.
lot of effort in their children. But then later they're all buried in the family graveyard.
Andolsun bu Kur'an'da insanlar için her örnekten çeşitli açıklamalarda bulunduk. Bahane var mı? Yok. Her örnekten diyor Allah çeşitli açıklamalarda bulundum diyor. Adam dedi ki Kur'an yetersiz diyor. Kardeşim ya senin aklında bir sorun olmuş oluyor ya nefsinde bir ecayiplik var. Hüküm açık çünkü bak andolsun bu Kur'an'da insanlar için her örnekten çeşitli açıklamalarda bulunduk. Her örnekten. Allah doğru söylüyor. İnsanlar her şeyden çok tartışmacıdır. Gelenekçiler meraklıdır ya tartışmaya. Ebu Yusuf'a göre şöyle, şuna göre böyle. Esra olan kavle göre böyle. Yani müthiş bir tartışma ortamı.
We have variegated throughout this Quran all kinds of examples for people, but more than anything else, man is argumentative. You know, usually the traditional
kelimesi,
Muslims, they are very argumentative.
Maşallahı
The word mashalloh's abject value, which means its numerical value is
miladi karşı 1987. Maşallahı yine şeddeli olursa
49, and it corresponds to 1987 in Gregorian calendar. And mashalloh's numerical value, if you look at it in the Shedda way, it corresponds to 2016, which is 1439 in Hijra calendar. So it has two references, 1986 and 2016.
İnşallah demesi onun imanının kemalindendir diyor Peygamberimiz. Bizden de bahsetmiş oluyor.
If a person says inshallah all the time, that shows that person has a very strong faith. This is what Prophet Muhammad said, mashallah. He talked about us too.
En mükemmel budur diyor, itaat et. Maşallah.
Prophet Muhammad says that it will be very good for people's obedience if they say inshallah all the time.
Biz vereceğiz, uyarıcılar olmak dışında göndermeyiz diyor Cenab-ı Allah. Onlar benim ayetlerime uyarıldıklarını
We only send the messengers to bring good news and to give warning.
İlk reaksiyon bu oluyor, alay. Adam diyor niye alay ediyor? Ya kardeşim ayetin inişiyle
they make a mockery of my signs and also of the warning they were given. Unbelievers usually their first reaction is mocking.
Alay etmeye mecbur olarak yaratılıyor. Onu Allah alay ettiriyor.
And some believers get surprised. Why are they mocking? It is because God created them that way in the destiny. Those people who are trying to mock, they were created that way. They have to do that because it is in the destiny. He has no choice.
Kader bütünü.
His mockery and the sending of the revelation of the verse, it was created at the same time in the destiny. They both were created at the same time. Your Lord is ever forgiving, the possessor of mercy. If he had taken them to task for what they have earned, he would have hastened their punishment. the current pain,
tabii iyi insanlar da var ama
the current pain in
zalimler
the Islamic
hakikaten
world, it has come gradually because God is very patient, because the whole Islamic
hayır,
world
onlar için bir buluşma zamanı
deserved
vardır.
punishment. Of course, there are good people,
Onun
but the
dışında asla
tyrants, the
başka bir şeyden
oppressors, they deserve punishment in the Islamic
bulamayacaklardır.
world.
Hayır, onlar için bir buluşma zamanı vardır.
Instead,
Buna
they
dikkat
have
edin.
promised
58.
appointment,
ayet.
and they will not
Bir
find
buluşma
any
zamanı.
refuge from it.
İşte ülkeleri ve onların halkları zulmettikleri zaman onları yıkıma uğrattık. Şu an İslam ülkelerinde meydana gelen olay nedeni bu.
Pay
Ve
attention to
yıkımlar için bir
this
buluşma
verse,
zamanı
verse
tespit ettik.
58.
Bu
Those
toplantı
cities we
olmadan bu
destroyed
yıkım
them when they did wrong and fixed the promised time
önce bu
for their
toplantı
destruction. This is
yapılıyor.
the reason why
Karar veriliyor. Yıkım
the
kararı
Islamic
alınıyor. Ondan
cities
sonra
are being,
veriliyor.
Islamic countries are being destroyed.
Ayette bak diyor, iki yerde belirtiyor. 58.
First,
ayette
this
var ve 59.
meeting
ayette var.
is held, and
Zulmettikleri zaman
a,
onlara yıkıma uğrattık ve
a
yıkımlar için
decision
bir
for
buluşma zamanı
destruction
tespit
is
ettik.
taken in those meetings.
Hani Musa genç yardımcısına demişti ki iki
Verse
denizin birleştiği yere
58,
ulaşıncaya kadar
59.
geleceğim. İstanbul.
We destroyed
İki denizin
them, those
birleştiği.
cities, we destroyed them when they did wrong and fixed the promised time for their destruction. Remember
Hazreti
when
Musa
Musa
genç
said to his
yardımcısı oluyor.
servant Moses, I will not give up until I reach the meeting place of the two seas. This is Istanbul, where the place where
Buralarda
the two
mefkun olduğu
seas meet.
söylenir.
Prophet Moses
Mezarı.
said this to his young
Yakınlarda olduğu söylenir.
servant. It is said that young servant's graveyard is close to this place.
Hep genç. Ashab-ı Kehf genç. Musa'nın talebeleri genç. Yanında götürdüğü genç.
Also, the people of the cave, they were also young. Prophet
Böylece
Moses'
iki denizin birleştiği yere
servant
ulaşınca
and his students, they were also
1984 tane
young.
öyle Ebced. 1984 ne var acaba 1984? Kimden buluşuyor acaba 1984?
But when they reached their meeting place, the Ebced value is 1984. What is special about 1984, do you think? Who do you think met who?
Canım hocam, cennette neden sadece erkeklere yönelik bir anlatım var?
Inshallah, we will understand these details in the hereafter.
Ya şimdi ayette dese ki Cenab-ı Allah,
My dear master,
efendim, erkeklere,
why do you think the heaven is always described in a place like only the men will get blessings? If God said in a verse,
ahirette güçlü kuvvetli erkekler vereceğim.
God says that I will give beautiful women to men in the hereafter. But if God said that in the hereafter I will give strong men to women in the hereafter, I will give beautiful men to women in the hereafter. This is the same thing, right? When God says this, it is the same thing.
Dersen yani ne diyor?
It means the same thing. If God gives women to men, it means that men are given to women too. But if you think about it in terms of superiority,
ayette, Kur'an ayetlerinde sadece kadınların güzelliği,
so maybe you think that the women are treated like they are only second. It is not like that, because, for example, God praises the beauty of women only in Quran. For example, how beautiful they are, how great characters they will have. So it is always praising the beauty of women. There are almost no praises for men in the Quran. So who are superior? Women. Men are very, very rarely praised in Quran, but God praises women all the time in Quran. There's always praise for women in Quran.
Eğer bir teknik yanlışlık yoksa üçlü rekor kırmışız. Yani 3 kat rekor kırmışız.
If there is no problem, if there is no error with these ratings, we must have broken all the records. We tripled the previous ratings. How could this be happening?
Yani olur. Olur. İlim meclisi olunca oluyor yani demek.
Why not?
Saat kaç şu an?
12 çeyrek geçiyor.
12 çeyrek geçiyor. Tamam o zaman
What time is
11-12
it?
arasında versinler.
12:15.
Orayı da göreyim.
Alright then.
Böylece
They
ikisi
should send me the
birleşmeye
ratings for
ulaşınca
between 11 and 12
balıkları
p.m.
unuttular. Balık denizde bir akıntıya doğru bir menfez bulup kendi yolunu tuttu.
But when they reached their meeting place, they forgot their fish, which quickly burrowed its way into the sea.
Ama bir ülkenin yıkılması kararı var öncesinde. Ülkeden yıkılması. Bir toplantı yapılmadan olmuyor. O devrin mebusanı.
But before this, there was a decision to destroy a city, a country. A meeting was held. So these destructions do not take place before that certain meeting is held. Hızır attends this meeting. The council of the spiritual leaders of that era attend that meeting. So when those two reach their meeting place, the places where two seas meet, 2 and 2, they forgot their fish. Why did they forget their fish? Because it is the end of the era of Aquarius and the start of a new era, the start of the the end of the age of Pisces and the start of the age of the Aquarius. So why do you think the fish burrowed its way into the sea? Does anyone know?
Gider, herhangi bir yere doğru gider. Ama bir akıntıya doğru gidiyor. Bir menfez buluyor. Kendi yolunu tuttu diyor. Kendi özel yolunu tuttu.
The fish
bu nasıl bir
found a way.
Tarkan sence? Değişik bir şey değil mi?
So it had a special way, found a certain way. What kind of, how can it be, do you think? Tarkan, how can it be finding a certain special way?
Yemeğimizi getir bize, andolsun bu yaptığın.
When they had gotten a distance further on, he said to his young servant,
yemeğimizi getir bize.
Bring us our morning meal. Truly this journey of ours has made us tired.
Yaptığımız yolculukta gerçekten yorulduk. Yardımcısı dedi ki genç olan, gördün mü kayaya sığındığımızda balığı unuttum. O hangi kaya? Biliyor musun?
His young servant said, do you see what has happened? When we went to find shelter at the rock, I forgot the fish. What rock is that? Do you know?
Bunu hatırlamamı şeytandan başkası bana unutturmadı. O da şaşıracak tarzda denizde kendi yolunu tuttu. Yani bir balığın
no one made me forget to remember it except Satan.
Şaşıracak bir tarzda diyor.
It found its way into the sea in an amazing way.
Garip bir balık yani.
Normally, in an amazing way, it says normally fish can find its way, so, but because it happens in an amazing way, there must be something special in here. He said, Moses said, that is the very thing that we were looking for. So following their footsteps, they retraced their route. They retraced their route.
Yani işaret bekliyordum ben diyor zaten. Değil mi? O anlam çıkmıyor mu? Bizim de aradığımız buydu diyor.
So Prophet Moses says that I was looking for a sign. I was expecting a sign. Don't you also see that? Yes.
Balığa benziyor ama balık değil. Yani
they wouldn't be able to eat that fish anyway because it wasn't a fish. Actually, it looked like a fish, but it didn't. It wasn't a fish.
Derken katımızdan kendisine bir rahmet verdiğimiz ve tarafımızdan kendisine bir ilim öğrettiğimiz, ledün ilmi batın öğrettiğimiz kullarımızdan bir kulu buldular.
They found a slave of ours, whom we had granted mercy from us, and whom we had also given knowledge direct from us.
Hızır karşılaşma yerine benim gördüğüm balık şeklinde geri dönüyor. Balık şeklinde de yanlarında gezmiş. Haberleri yok onların. Hz.Musa da yiyeceğini düşünüyor.
I think Hızır,
öyle o tarz bir balık değil.
I think Khidir traveled with them in the shape of a fish, but they weren't aware of that. And Prophet Moses thought that he could have eaten that fish, but he wasn't a fish, he was Khidir. And the fish went back to its place, the original place, where he was supposed to meet Moses.
Başka güzel bir insan şeklinde görülebilir.
What Hızır, into what form can he assume? He can take the shape of image, the appearance of anything, a table, a human, anything.
Son bir saat içerisinde rekor kırmışız ama normal bir rekor kırma değil. 3 misli rekor kırmışız yani.
In the last hour, we broke a record, but it's such a high record. We tripled it. We tripled the previous records. We tripled the previous numbers.
Ama sonradan ve dahil olduktan sonra tam. Maşallah. Musa ona dedi ki doğru yol, rüşt olarak sana öğretilerinden bana öğretmen için sana tabi olabilir miyim? Hızır dedi ki gerçekten sen benimle birlikte olma sabrını göstermeye güç yetiremezsin.
Moses said to him, "May I follow you on condition that you teach me some of the right guidance you have been taught?" Khidir said, "You will not be able to bear with me." He says this to an ulul prophet, one of the greatest prophets. He was in the form of a fish first, then he assumed the form of a human being, and then he said this. But of course, they didn't know that fish was Prophet Khidir. Sorry, not prophet, I'm sorry. They didn't know that fish was Khidir. How indeed could you bear with patience something you have not encompassed in your knowledge? This is common with people. When they don't understand something, they always object. Moses said, "You will find me patient, inshallah, and I will not disobey you in any matter."
Eğer bana uyacak olursan hiçbir şey hakkında bana soru sorma ama hiçbir şey hakkında.
No exceptions. I will not disobey you in any matter. He said that if you follow me, do not question me about anything until I make mention of it to you. About anything. They continued until they boarded a boat. They continued, the two of them, so they left the young servant behind. As far as I can understand, they left him in Istanbul because they were acting on revelation, according to the revelation, the instructions. So the two of them, they continued until they boarded the boat, and Khidir scuppered it, harmed it. He punched a hole in the boat. Then Moses said, "Did you do it so that its owners would be drowned?" This is truly a dreadful thing that you have done. Khidir said, "Did I not say that you would not be able to bear with me?" Moses said, "Do not take me to task because I forgot. Do not demand of me something which is too difficult." And Khidir says, "Okay." But Khidir already knew what Moses would say because he gets revelation from God. But Prophet Moses didn't know any of that, but Khidir knew. Khidir knew that Moses wouldn't be able to bear and he would object. So the two of them, they went on until they met a youngster whom Khidir killed. Moses said, "Have you killed a boy who has done no wrong without it being in retaliation for someone else? This is truly an appalling thing that you have done." She said, "Did I not tell you that you would not be able to bear with me?"
Kesinlikle sabredemeyecek diyor, söylüyor Musa için.
So how does he know? Because he gets a revelation from God. God says that Moses will not be able to be patient.
Musa, bundan sonra sana bir şey soracak olursam artık benimle arkadaşlık etme. Sağlam oluyor. Halbuki bu
Moses said, "If I ask you about anything after this, then you should no longer keep me company."
Benden yana bir öze ulaşmış olursun dedi. 77.
Actually, Khidir knew that there will be 3 objections. I will have you give an excuse enough.
Yemek istediler.
The verse 77, so the two of them went on until they reached the inhabitants of a town. They asked them for food, but the village folks refused them hospitality. This happens to every Mahdi society. The Mahdi societies, the Mahdi groups, they cannot find any comfort in their own countries. All prophets were challenged, were objected to by their own people. So Mahdi will see the same thing too, because that's his destiny.
Hemen onu inşa etti mesela.
They found there a wall about to fall down and he built it up. Hızır.
Ama yani onu inşa etmesi gerektiği
normally, why is he doing that? Why would he do that? It is not about him. But he went there and he built it up because he knew that he should do it, because he knew that information through revelation. And he was very strong. It is not very easy for a man to build up a wall that easily. Or it is not easy for a person to really harm a ship.
Evet, duvar ustası. Masonluk buradan alıyor bu hikmetli konuyu. O dul kadının çocukları.
A mason, yes, a mason.
Dul kesisine de.
This is the Freemasonry gets their reference from this incident.
Bu anlaşılıyor.
So Freemasonry will be under the control of the Muslims too. This is what we understand from here.
Yani ücretsiz durduk yere yaptın diyor duvara ya.
Moses said, if you had wanted, you could have taken a wage for doing that. So he says, why did you build it for free?
Belki Süleyman'ın mabedinin
duvarı. But that wall wasn't just any wall.
O ilk taşı belki o koydu. Orada bir taş var, biliyor musun Süleyman mabedinde?
Maybe it's the wall of the Solomon's temple, Prophet Solomon's temple. Maybe he put the first stone. There's a stone in Prophet Solomon's temple. You know that, right? They still cannot understand how that stone was taken there. It's very, very neatly cut. You cannot even insert a piece of paper between the blocks. Not between the blocks, inside between the blocks. And it's technically impossible for such a huge block of stone to be brought there. They are still trying to understand how it was brought there. And they are yet to do it. Hızır said, this is where you and I part company. He says that the time has come. I will let you know the explanation of those things about which you were not able to restrain yourself.
Bak, sabır göstermek yoksullarındı. Onu kusurlu yapmak istedim çünkü ilerlerinde her gemiyi zorbalıkla ele geçiren bir kral
As for the boat, it belonged to some poor people who worked on the sea. I wanted to damage it because a king was coming behind them, commandeering every boat. So sometimes
Hasta mı?
God might make things
Ama
seem
adamlar
weaker.
korkup kaçıyor arada İbrahim.
For example, Prophet Abraham, what did he
Belki
say?
deli
I'm
olduğunu
sick.
söyledi.
Was he
Belki ben
sick?
deliyim,
No.
hastayım dedi. Onlar da korkup kaçtılar. Bu
And
Ledinizm.
they got afraid of him and they ran
Batılı.
away from him. Maybe he said that he was
Yani
crazy.
bir şeyi zayıf göstermek, onu korumak amacıyla yapılabilir.
That's hidden knowledge. That's the secret knowledge.
Ayrıca aynı
Showing
zamanda
something weak can be done to protect
zorbalığın da
that.
olacağına işaret var. Yani dikta yönetimlerinin olacağına işaret ediliyor.
And also this is another reference to the
Çocuğa
fact
gelince
that
anne
in
ve
the end of
babası
the
mümin
times the
kimseleri de bundan
poverty
dolayı onun
will
kendilerine
spread, that
azgınlık
there
ve
will be
inkar zorunu
dictatorships,
kullanmasına
that
endişeli
people
korktuk.
will be oppressed.
Bak kendilerine
As for the
azgınlık
boy, his parents
ve
were
inkar
believers,
zorunu.
and we feared that he would
Demek ki
darken their
Hızır
days with
bir
excessive
şahsa
insolence and
bakıp
disbelief.
ya bu adam İslam'a, Kur'an'a zarar verecek. İttihat-ı İslam'ın hakimiyetini engelleme yeteneği var diye
Hızır,
onun hakkında karar verebiliyor vahiyle.
he might look at a person
Ve
and understand that
faili
if
meçhulü
that person
öldürür.
is going
Hızır'ın
to be
özelliği.
able to harm
Yani
Islam and
çok fazla
its
cinayetin
progress, and he
kökeninden
might
bir
make a
hızır var.
decision. He might make a decision about that person,
Faili
and
meçhul.
Hızır might kill that person, and that
Asla
person,
da
that
bulunamaz.
murder will never be solved.
O kendine göre
Hızır
hüküm
is
verir.
behind many murders, unsolved
Vahiy.
murders, and the perpetrator will
Bak,
never be
gerekçesi de
found.
ne? Azgınlık ve inkar zorunu kullanması ileride. Azgınlık ve inkar. Yani İslam'a zarar vermesinden endişe etmek. Endişe etmek, şüphe etmek. Yani çok güçlü delille şüphe etmek.
And what is his reason for doing that? Because he was concerned, he feared that he would darken their days with excessive insolence and disbelief. God gave him that information. So it is not fear, it is the truth. That person is truly dangerous. And he had to be killed. And God killed him through Hızır.
Olmak bakımından daha hayırlısı, merhamet bakımından daha yakın olanın vermesini diledik. Cenab-ı Allah o çocuğu öldürtüyor ama yerine de daha efendi, yani daha
we wanted
efendi,
dear Lord
dindar,
to give them in exchange a purer son than him,
temiz,
one more compassionate.
dine
So
yakın olan
got that boy killed, but replaced him with a more compassionate, a purer son than him, who is closer to religion.
Gemi tahrip ediyor ama adamları kurtarmış oluyor. Çocuğu
So
öldürüyor ama Allah daha hayırlısını
Hızır also, when he does something, he doesn't create a situation where one person is treated unfairly. For example, he damages the ship, but he actually saves the people. He kills that boy, but that boy is replaced by someone that is better.
Altında onlara ait bir define vardı. İşte bu da
as for the wall, it belonged to two young orphans in the town, the children of the widow, and there was a treasure underneath it belonging to them. This is, the Masons have a sack, they call it the widow's sack. This is a reference to that. Their father was one of the good people, righteous people, and your Lord wanted them to come of age, and then to unearth it. They unearthed their treasure as a mercy from him.
Define, ergenlik çağına erişmek, olgunluk. Taş ustalığı, taşın yontulması.
Coming of age, maturity.
Salih insan. 2 yetim.
Masonry, being expert on building walls. Righteous person. 2 orphans.
Diyor ki bu Rabbinden bir rahmettir.
Children of a widow.
Rahmet olarak yaptı Cenab-ı Allah.
Widowed woman.
Bunları ben kendi işim, özel görüşüm olarak yapmadım. Yani kendi kanaatim değil. Hepsini vahiyle yaptım.
He says that this is a mercy from your Lord. This is a mercy from your Lord. I did not do it of my own volition. That is the explanation of the things about which you were not able to restrain yourself.